revive Kevin. I don't know. He's a good dead actor. I don't know.
Don't need just take a nap.
We didn't talk about.
I was like, if I stay down there, I will fall asleep.
Stay dead the whole episode.
I thought that was my job.
You did a great job.
I was like, well,
Wait, I
I
want
was
to
like,
be that guy.
Probably no sound. We're miming again as usual.
the sound.
See if we can kick that
the whole
on.
thing again. Oh,
Right?
man.
Did you miss the murder? Man, I hope
Oh,
you didn't. We're starting a little bit late because we were doing a little bit of other recording stuff, so my bad. But we'll hey, we got sound now. All right, good. We'll hopefully you didn't miss everything.
I think.
If you didn't catch it, Kevin was dead.
He died. Somebody killed him. If you
But
think
now he's not.
But then I was like, Will, are you gonna be doing the
thing, I don't know. So if you know who killed Kevin, figure it out in the comments, I guess. I don't know. Tonight we're talking about social deduction versus deduction. Not really versus. Just sounded better that way.
Deduction's better.
Yeah. Well, maybe I don't know. Maybe it is a versus.
It's definitely versus.
So pretty much we're just talking about some of our favorites. We'd love to know some of you guys in the comments. We've got a stack of good classic ones on the table in front of us, and I think we should start
Modern classics.
modern classics versus.
So we should just probably define our terms,
Right,
right?
exactly.
Okay.
Go for it. Melissa, what is your definition of a deduction game?
Well,
I should ask her to do social deduction.
Okay, deduction, you are getting clues and you're using logic to find a answer, maybe solve a mystery. The old-ish classic game Mastermind comes to mind,
favorite.
where you're trying to get the code that the other person has made. So it's all of taking those clues and the information you get and coming up with hopefully the right answer.
So usually that involves there's got to be one specific answer and then like limited information. What do we think about Hanabi? Is Hanabi a deduction game?
Sure, that's got deduction aspects to it.
See, I think there are games that involve deduction, but they are not a deduction game unless you win when you say Colonel Mustard in the ballroom with the lead pipe.
Oh,
Okay.
clues.
Only
You
that
have
one
clues
game.
somewhere.
Right, there's only
qualifies.
2 games in the entire industry.
So, well, 13
13
clues
clues.
is very similar.
Does it have
Yeah.
a Colonel Mustard though?
It has a yellow nurse.
It has a
But that's what I'm
butcher.
saying. Once you come up with the answer, you win. That is what I consider a deduction game. So Hanabi, like,
I've come up
there
with the
is
answer.
definite deduction involved, but I don't think that's a deduction game.
So give us a couple of other games besides Clue and 13 Clues that would be deduction games.
Is the Grim Masquerade another
That-
Do you say, are you the...
I don't
So-
really have a lot of deduction
The
games.
Search for Planet X is a pure deduction game.
Right, and I would say Escape from the Aliens in Outer Space it's a little bit of a guess, but you win when you do figure out exactly what space they're on and you kill them on that space, right?
I don't know. I think that's more social deduction.
Whoa! Crazy!
Wow.
Though
Wait a
Katie
minute.
thinks it's a deduction game too.
Oh,
What's
so
the
the
social
Pills
part?
house is split on it.
Sorry, what?
What's the social part?
At the beginning, everybody is dealt either an alien or an astronaut or whatever card, and you don't know who's what. And then you find out based on their actions. So you might both be heading to an escape pod, and you don't know, is this a human running next to me, or is this an
interesting.
alien?
What are your
Yes,
thoughts?
in the comments.
Yeah.
Let us know.
So what do you think about like Sherlock Holmes?
I haven't played this one.
Or Chronicles of Crime, where it's
Chronicles
more of a
of
mystery.
Crime is a deduction game.
Then Sherlock Holmes Consulting Dentist is definitely a deduction game because they're very similar.
All right, so Ryan, give us your
Also very
definition
hard.
of a social deduction game.
I think a social deduction game is one with hidden roles.
Okay.
Sometimes, I guess there could be some that don't have a hidden traitor, but usually there's a hidden traitor mechanic involved
And
somewhere.
the classic would be like Werewolf.
All
Yeah.
the ones I'm seeing on the
Um,
table.
Yeah.
What about...
Well, Dead Last does not have hidden roles.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised to see that out here because
Right.
there is deduction involved and there's a social aspect, but I don't think it's social deduction per se. And I don't think it's a deduction game. It's a party game with backstabbing.
Party
It's a
game.
There's a
party
lot of
game
games like that.
where players like me have no idea what's going on and get killed.
It is a social, more social influence. You're not necessarily deducting.
Social
You're just-
manipulation.
Yes.
But the deduction though is like, what are they gonna do? And to some extent, every game has that because that's just strategy. You know, like what is that player gonna do?
Except for the games Melissa plays. I'm just kidding. What do you think about? So in in Dead Last, there's also like a what is it? The Prisoner's Dilemma. Is that what it's called?
Oh yeah.
Where do you put that on the spectrum?
Prisoner's Dilemma is a different mechanic.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
So it is social though, right? I mean, the whole
Yeah.
idea is like you want to. So Prisoner's Dilemma is we can both share the treasure equally. I can say I'm going to share it, but I can lie and say I'm going to keep it, and then I get all of it, and you get nothing. Or there's a third option. I don't know what it is. What's the third option? It's like
the other way around.
Yeah, I guess.
Or
if
no
you
one gets
said-
anything if you both try
Right.
to.
If you both try to steal it, nobody gets anything. So there's definitely the social aspect. Maybe not the deduction. I think you're right.
yeah. I mean, there's logic involved. Sure, you're gonna deduce what the other player's gonna do, but I don't think it's a deduction category or whatever.
Because it's not clean information.
Yeah,
Right. You can't know what they're going to do until you say, I knew he was going to say steal it.
there's not like an absolute answer to the game.
It's not like a logic puzzle that you fill out and
Yeah,
there is one answer.
Yeah.
Whereas usually deduction puzzles are.
Yeah, I mean, this is all opinion.
Obviously.
I'm
This
just-
whole thing is
uh,
decision.
facts.
You're asking
Yeah.
Ryan's fact moment.
Ryan, this is-
Yeah, so like here, the resistance, this is social deduction,
Mm-hmm.
and coup, I don't think coup is social deduction. It does say deduction on the box, but it's just trying to deduce what the other person's going to play, and I don't think that makes it a deduction game.
Yeah, interesting. I think that's the first one I've disagreed with you on, because in that game you are, especially later in the game, you're like counting the cards and you're saying, okay, he's not the guy who gets the money. What's his name? It's been way too long since I played coup. The Duke, because I've got one Duke and there's two Dukes out here, so I'm deducting that he's got that. Socially, he keeps lying and saying, I'm the Duke. I don't know. Interesting. I feel like that one's got more in it.
I'm not like absolute on it, but I don't think it's social deduction.
Everyone, let's see if Ryan is right or wrong.
Sarah, what do you lean more towards? Social deduction or deduction?
I like both. I end.
Socially deduced to that.
Yeah. I love the puzzles and games that you have to find the answers based on limited information. I don't always do well at those. I don't always do well at social deduction games either. But I have a lot of fun playing them.
See, if I have to lie or if I have to make up information and try to sound intelligent in a social deduction game, I'm probably going to do very poorly.
Well, intern Andrew was asking about The Thing, which we don't have out here, but The Thing we played years ago, and I remember Ryan playing this game, and he was the Thing.
Yeah, and it was really nice because I didn't have to lie. I was able to help people along, but just not help them quite as much as I needed to.
Right, because you're giving cards and you're basically trying to complete objectives, and all Ryan really had to do, there's multiple ways he could have won, but one way to win was just get on the helicopter at the end.
Yeah, and so nobody suspected me because I'd been helping all along.
But Ryan's marriage,
Katie took them on the helicopter.
Yeah.
at that point, I was not sure what was going to happen to Ryan and Katie's marriage.
Once she found out
We
that he
were
was
in a
a
public
thing.
restaurant. It was the most exciting, like, scream slap that I've heard in a while.
Ryan probably still has bruises from that.
Those are like battle scars. Won. We just played Don't Mess with Cthulhu at a game night we just had recently.
Jonah!
Oh, goodness.
Oh, tell us, Larry. Tell us, Larry.
Tell us
Tell
the
us,
story
Larry.
from your perspective, Larry. I wish Jonah was here because it was a great
Right.
experience.
He was crazy.
He was crazy.
Well, he was quiet the whole game. So he started the first round. He had one of the signs, and we found his sign because he claimed to have a sign.
So we
Well, he
trusted
said
him.
he had two, and I had two. And just the odds of us both having
Oh yeah,
two,
true. Because we had so
I
many
thought was
players.
really low. So I tried to call him out, but he was able to like drown me out with his logic.
Well, it was going both ways because it was hilarious. So in Don't Mess with Cthulhu, it's one of those good games where you don't necessarily have to lie, or maybe
it
they can
is
get away.
the one social deduction game, that and Werewords, that I will play.
Yeah. So in the game, you have a bunch of cards, and you may or may not have what you claim you have, but it's very unlikely that everyone would reveal all of your cards anyway, so you can get away with it. And it was funny because they were both accusing each other of the same thing. I have two. No, you just missed it. This last one is it. And they're both like they can't claim the other way because they're both. Ryan was telling the truth, and we just never unturned his.
They both only had one. that we found.
Supposedly, right? All right.
We only found one of each. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a crazy round in general. We had 2 new players who like just totally threw a wrench in it because they were claiming things that I don't even understand what they were claiming.
Yeah, I still don't understand
Threw
the guy
us
next
off.
to me's logic. And this guy was making lies that like weren't even possible. There's like
Right.
3 elder signs left, and he's saying he has 4. And you're just like, I don't.
We know you're a cultist.
We're just
stop talking.
obviously ignore you. But then at the very last round, it ended up where Jonah and he both claimed they had 1. Nobody else claimed any.
Right.
He did have 1. The insane dude.
Right.
And Jonah had Cthulhu.
Right.
So we're all like, well,
We
he
can't
says
trust
he
him.
has 1. Nobody's gonna go there because this guy's just off his rocker, crazy cultist. So I guess we're going with Jonah.
Jonah's got to have it.
Yeah.
Everybody.
So maybe this guy is watching and
He
he's
probably
trying
is.
to
Well
tell you
done.
his strategy.
It was insane like skills because in the end, Jonah flips over his Cthulhu, which blows my mind because I thought for sure I could trust him. I thought me, Ryan, we had this terrible thing. We're like, I know Jonah, I know Ryan. We're all telling the truth, obviously. we played through 4 long rounds, totally can trust them. And then Jonah flips over Cthulhu, literally jumped like 8 feet into the air, like whoa, lands on. I hate your guys. And then the other guy flips over. He did have, it was so crazy.
Yeah, there was no way we would have won. But yeah.
Yeah, and those experiences, that's what I like so much about social deduction. Lying is fun, playing the game and figuring out also fun, but the moment that you like just hoodwinked everybody and you reveal it at the end of the game to win it, best feeling.
It sounds amazing.
Well,
I would love to be able to lie to someone and then not get caught. But it doesn't happen.
Ryan, we did win once as
Yes.
cultists
Oh,
at
yeah.
Origins.
When you play
and there's
enough,
still
I mean,
tails.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, you
Still
have
Even
to.
the blind squirrel finds the nut.
Once in a while.
Occasionally.
Ryan and I, the worst 2
Yeah.
social deduction players, were able to win.
That was an impressive round too. That was a
Yeah.
long one. They
Yeah.
played the long lie. I think we had even called them out. And
Why
they-
is Ryan's leg shaking so bad? I really want
I
to
was
know.
like, well, I'm real tired. It's
And
time.
it's just, I don't know. I can't hold it on.
Yeah, that was an epic game we played with David and Jeremy from Man vs. Meeple.
Yep.
And yeah, I don't know if we've topped.
I don't think they've played
Those-
any games with us since then, have they?
I don't know. Jeremy every once in a while will still say, "I never trust you,"
Oh.
and all of that.
Oh.
Intense.
Melissa, you just played a Kickstarter game over Tabletopia from Indie Boards and Cards, another social deduction type game.
Yes, it was. They were doing a Kickstarter for their Avalon Deluxe
The Quest or
version,
something like that?
and then they had a new version of the game that they were also selling on that, which was the Quest, and it reminded me a little bit. You didn't have the voting in it that you have in Avalon or the Resistance.
Cool.
So, it was
Before
interesting.
we go any further,
Good idea.
we need to say thank you to our sponsor for Tantrum Talks. Should have done that at the beginning of the video, but we're doing it now. While
Well,
we have your
have
attention.
sound now.
While we have sound.
All right, good idea.
Our sponsor for Tantrum Talks is Burnt Island Games. They have a Kickstarter starting September 15th, so just a few days away for their Kickstarter relaunch of In Too Deep, which is not a social deduction game or a deduction game, but it's a fun.
Just a
It's
little
got
bit.
deduction.
It's got a little bit of deduction.
A little deduction in it? Okay.
Little
But you get asymmetric player powers and.
Yes. So you are a secret agent, and you are collecting evidence
Undercover.
Undercover. So some of that evidence collecting has a little bit of. You're trying to figure out how much has been collected and. And
Before the game ends? Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Well, check that out from Burnt Island, September 15th, please.
All right, so let us know in the comments some of your favorite deduction games. Do we have any out on the table? Are there any that you have questions about? Have you had a chance to play any of these? I saw one comment earlier from somebody, I can't remember who it was, that said we had introduced them to 13 Clues.
Matt Killingsworth.
Matt? I super enjoy that one. It has all the fun of Clue that I grew up on, one of my favorite games growing up, without all the I rolled a 1 again, I still don't get another turn. In that game, you have 3 cards on the outside of your player shield that you don't get to see, and it is indeed a person, place, and thing, mustard, candlestick, in the park or wherever, and you get to see everybody else's.
You've not played Clue, have you?
I've been in the park with Colonel such and such.
It's a new version.
Yeah, it is. Super fun. I really, really enjoy that one. We've talked about Don't Mess with Cthulhu, which you obviously know that I enjoy. I was pumped after our game night that somebody went out and bought it. They were like, you convinced me, I went and bought it.
Someone just mentioned Shadows over Camelot, which I think is down there somewhere.
Yep,
Yep.
that's in the front.
Is it hidden?
Thanks.
Is it in the
It's
stack?
hidden.
Can you
It's
see
hidden.
it?
Socials just
Ooh,
So
you
it's-
socially deducted that from this hidden stash?
And that one has a hidden traitor, maybe. So it's kind of like
Yeah.
social deduction adjacent, maybe, or
Adjacent.
Well,
You can make it
yeah,
happen.
because you don't know everybody's role.
Mhm.
They may or may not be a traitor.
And I've come down to games with that where the black swords and the white swords are really close. Now, one of the Shadows over Camelot is probably one of the games that Melissa and I played when we were newer into the modern board gaming hobby, and it definitely has that set collection aspect and, like we were saying, the hidden traitor. But I don't know how thematic of a game that is really.
Right, they definitely tried. They did a great job with the art. Doesn't really have to do anything with the
Oh,
theme,
because it's
but-
like, to beat the Black Knight, I'm
Two twos.
doing a full
Right,
house or
right.
something. Or, yeah.
Yeah, not quite off theme. We just played I think this is Social Deduction. What is Among Us?
Oh, that's definitely social deduction.
Because we're running around.
Definitely.
We
Did
played
you
that
not play
online.
that's right?
No, I wasn't
Digital
aware of
game.
that.
It's not-
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a digital.
So
Speaking of that,
Right? That was my
go for it, Will.
segue. Go
Nice
ahead.
segue. Speaking of Among Us, we played on our new Twitch channel, and currently, Amy Eggs is currently on Twitch playing Root
Yes, she
Root?
is
Oh,
trying
cool.
to play Root. So
from Leader Games.
So
Hop
don't,
on there,
yeah,
try
don't
to-
leave us, but do a window
You
in.
can, yeah, definitely put Amy Eggs on same time as us. So if you're not a follower of our Twitch channel, definitely check out the Tantrum House Twitch channel. Follow us, love us, subscribe to us, whatever you do on Twitch. What do you do on Twitch?
follow.
Follow
Follow.
on Twitch.
Hopefully
Tantrum.
soon subscribe.
Underscore
Oh,
house.
really?
Maybe.
Yeah, I gotta get some unlocking action going on.
Okay, we need to unlock. What do we need to hit? 50
Yeah,
followers?
50
All right, here we go. 50 followers tonight.
You got
Come on,
30
11. Come on,
already.
11 people. Go
20
there.
people. All right.
Battlestar Galactica, one of my favorite games. We don't get to play it very often. I'm hoping to get to it next week, actually.
Oh, cool.
For whatever reason, whenever I play with Will, he is the Cylon every single time.
It's not my fault.
Every time. I don't know how that he gets dealt that card every time, but he's almost always Cylon.
The cool thing about the game is that you
And
don't necessarily have a
blames me.
Cylon at the beginning of the game, which is very interesting. So you may all be good guys, and then you find out, what? Oh no, I am a traitor all of a sudden, which is interesting because then you have to like keep your cool that you had during the first half of the game, but now without being obvious, you have to like, oh yeah, I have terrible cards, everybody. I have to ruin another mission, which I guess is the number one excuse. There should be a game called like, I have terrible cards. Just thought of that. Like,
Or a t-shirt.
right. Oh, there we go. Gotta get
I'm not the traitor, I have terrible cards.
Yeah, this is a fun one. This one is pretty thematic. It helped that the TV show had awesome secret characters in it that you didn't know were bad guys. What else we got on the
Spoilers.
table? Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, so there is some discussion in the comments about hidden traitor games, how much they fall onto the social deduction, like Dead of Winter, Warehouse 13, Battlestar Galactica, because they do have some,
Gameplay.
yeah, there's more gameplay than just
There's
the,
small
the-
parts of the gameplay. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good point.
than just the hidden traitor thing.
Right.
But I think it can change the game very dramatically depending on what happens with the traitor. So-
Yeah, I think for me, I would prefer playing hidden traitor games than a full-out
Straight
like
up.
Resistance or Coup or some of those
Secret
where
Hitler.
your whole goal is to figure out the bad guys or to
Yeah.
like try, or One Night Ultimate Werewolf, those where it's like that is your only goal basically.
Yeah, talking, conversation. I think I heard them move in the middle of the night.
I
We
think
did play a pretty couple epic games of the new Ultimate Werewolf Extreme.
Just in
From Space
Kickstarter.
Aid,
Yep. Yeah.
Probably
so
still available for post order. What's it called?
Late pledge.
Late pledge order.
Yep.
Yeah, that was interesting because I've never played social deduction via Zoom before. Because a lot of my social deduction strategy, if I want somebody to get out, is just like, oh yeah, I totally heard them moving in the middle of the night. On Zoom, not a good excuse. And the other thing was even more interesting is when we played the game, like I feel this obligation. I don't think anyone else does. To start the conversation, like we're all just sitting here quietly staring at each other, I guess I should start talking. This guy probably did it. Which, of course, puts a giant target on your back.
Well, yeah, but it was way harder because you're not looking people face to face.
Right.
There are minimal tells, so and you're looking at so many different people
And
all
you
at
can shake
once.
your knee without anybody noticing.
Yeah.
At one point, somebody asked Sarah, because we were the only people who knew each other. Period. Not knew each other. We all knew each other, but knew each other well. Everybody else was like random people. And somebody was like, "Sarah, do you trust Will?" And she was like, "Are you the werewolf?" And so I pulled the laptop right up to my eyes, and I was like, "Look at my eyes. I'm not lying." Which on a giant screen is first off scary. I shouldn't have done it, but it worked. Now, granted, I wasn't lying, but. But it was an interesting twist, and I really wouldn't have thought it would have been as enjoyable. It really was, and I don't know if it was just... I mean, it's always the people you play with, so having the right group is the key to really any of these games, to a certain extent. Maybe...
Especially Social Deduction.
Right, especially
Yeah.
Social Deduction.
Yeah, we were talking about the Hidden Traitor being a smaller part of the game, and I feel like Dead of Winter specifically shouldn't have a Hidden Traitor mechanic.
It's hard enough.
Because it is hard enough.
Without having
I
to
think I've only won twice, and once was as the Hidden Traitor, but not because I was working against the group. It was just the group was so bad, I happened to win. So I think the Hidden Traitor mechanic is perfectly fine to ignore in that one.
And I almost wonder if that's true. I mean, you can't win if you're the thing or the bad guy in Dead of Winter. What is the bad guy called? A zombie.
No, he's just
No,
a traitor.
he's
Like
just the
An
traitor.
evil human.
it's still very vivid to me because you're supposed to read your victory card, and it was about how I was hoarding food and looking at myself in the mirror, like my portly body or whatever, and reveling in my fat beauty while everybody else was starving or something. I still think about that sometimes playing Dead of Winter. Oh,
Every time
That was
Ryan's
rough.
in the snow, he's
Ryan's looking at himself in the mirror.
yeah, thinking about the zombies.
Oh, crazy. Bang, the dice game. I actually had that in our pile, and I thought about pulling that one out. And some social deduction aspects. Yeah, I agree. There's a little bit in there where you are trying to shoot everybody else.
You're trying to figure out what the different roles
The
are, so
sheriff
there's a little bit
is
of
and,
deduction with the social aspect. Social deduction.
Yep. I actually don't know that I've played... He did say the dice game. I haven't actually played Bang.
What?
I think.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think
We
I've-
played
I think I've
Bang.
only played
You have the
dice
deputy
game.
and you have
Yeah.
the
Is
robbers.
it the exact same thing? Just
It's just
Yeah.
yeah, it's
just
pretty.
not really dice?
It's cards.
Yeah.
Card based instead.
Yeah.
The dynamite that goes around and the Indians and the
Yep.
Emporium.
I want to invent... Okay, this is my chance. I'm going to pitch it now to you guys.
Pitch it now so that
If
someone in
anybody
3
out there
months-
knows the Brothers Chaps, the guys behind Homestar Runner, I want to make a version of Don't Mess with Cthulhu that is Trogdor themed. And the main problem with social deduction games usually is it's good guys versus bad guys, and the bad guys are always cultists. I want to play a game where I don't have to be an evil Cthulhu Death Rising crazy person. I just want to be like Trogdor. Or even better, I think in this version of the game, which I'm pitching now, any publishers out there who want to buy the idea from me, I have all the mechanics worked out. Instead of getting the elder signs, you actually are burning thatch roof cottages. And so you actually want to be one of the Trogdors, the Wingling version, the Homestar drawing of it. So the Trogdors are the good guys in this game, and the bad guys are the villagers. So there's the switch for one. And then I have lots of ideas. One, the cards should be square so that when you shuffle them all back into the middle, you don't have to take a half hour to get them back into rectangle shape. Oh, so many upgrades. No, instead of the card, I have worn out 2 Don't Mess with Cthulhu flashlights now because when you spin it to start it and you slide it around the table, they're pure white. They don't look like flashlights anymore. That needs to be a plastic token.
Yep, I would say we've completely ruined an entire.
Our first set worn out entirely.
Worn out the whole thing. All the cards, we can't play it really because all the cards are worn.
Fortunately, I don't know how. Well, yeah, I don't know how that Cthulhu is not bent. That's the only reason the game is still playable because as soon as your Cthulhu is bent, then everybody's like, "Oh, I'm not picking that card."
When you have to go to sleep.
Plastic cards that are square. That's where it's at. The deluxe edition.
So you know you're safe if you're pointing at a bent card.
Are you? if you are Trogdor.
Oh, I'm just saying, if your Cthulhu's not bent yet,
Right.
we know.
Oh wow, that's true.
All the
Pick the
bent
bin cards, yeah.
foreign cards.
Grim Masquerade is on the table. Yep, that's one as well. Fury of Dracula. I haven't played that one either.
I played Fury of Dracula.
What do you think of that one?
It's more of a
Hidden movement.
hidden movement instead of a hidden, instead of social deduction. I mean, definitely.
So there is some deduction of trying to
I say definitely
find
more
where the hidden player is.
Is
The
it
needle
more like
points to
Escape
deduction
from the aliens?
because you, as the people trying to find Dracula, are trying to figure out where he went and where he is, and Dracula's trying to run away. Sort of like.
I will expand my definition to include that.
Oh, good.
Or like Scotland Yard.
Yeah,
That's a
similar.
deduction.
Yep, similar.
Yeah, Letters
concept.
from Whitechapel. There's the what's the one?
Spectre Ops.
Emerson Spectre.
Spectre Ops is definitely
Spectre
like
Ops.
that. Yep.
And then there's the newer game that was just on Kickstarter.
There was a game on Kickstarter.
What?
Sorry, I just lost the name of it.
That narrows it down.
I'll have to look it up.
It's the one that we played.
Yes.
Oh, Mind Management.
Mind Management.
Oh, another hidden
yeah.
roll.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
Well, not hidden
that
roll, one
was
versus many.
that one is a hidden movement, but it's definitely a deduction based.
Oh yeah.
Because you have so many places on
And you're
the
trying
map.
to figure out which ones they're going after.
Yeah.
Which icons the person's trying to like. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Because you're following clues and kind of narrowing down the path.
Yep.
Deducting where they're not at.
Mm-hmm.
World Recipe of Life says, "Love you, happy people. Can I move in with you guys?" Yes, you may.
Plenty of room.
Grim Masquerade. So this is one where it is a hidden role game, and based on how people play their cards, you're trying to guess who is who in the game.
So everybody is secret fairy tale characters, which is kind of cool.
Kind of like math.
Yeah, you've got they're at a masquerade ball. They've got two items. One is like, I don't remember what the words are for them, but one is the item that they like, and one is the item that they don't like. If they get, or maybe there's two that they don't like. If they get both of them, they lose. If they get both of the items they want, they win.
Don't listen
Three
to
of
Will.
them.
Don't listen to
Three
Will.
of them?
They need three they like.
Don't-
Three that they like.
And two
Kevin,
they
tell
don't.
us how to play the game.
I have not played this game.
Each
Correctly.
character has, what's the icon? It doesn't show.
Larry
It's just
draw.
two. It's just two.
Larry.
You draw a card.
Okay.
You decide if you want to keep it
Or give it to
or
somebody
give
else.
it to somebody else.
Right.
If you give it away, you got to keep the second card,
Mhm.
or vice versa. You have to get three of
Oh,
the
it's
ones
two
you
items,
want.
but it's three cards. Yes.
Yes.
Right. There's two items. There's one you like, one you don't like. You have to get three of the one you like without getting two of the one you don't like.
Okay.
So people are giving you cards like, oh, he already has a slipper. Let me give him another slipper and see if he's the person that doesn't want slippers. But once you give them that, then they have to put a marker that say, I'm not
Sleeping
the
Beauty.
person who doesn't want slippers. So
Right.
you kind of figure out,
Because the
it narrows
cards.
it down.
Yeah, because the cards automatically show whether you are or you aren't. Because if
Right.
it's
If
what
you
you
get
don't
both of them,
want, then
You have
you're
to
out.
reveal who you
Yeah.
are. Yep. Yeah, and you also are trying to put cards in front of you, but if somebody is able to call you out and say, he's got whatever, he's got to be collecting these, I know who he is, then you lose as well. So you got to like kind of spread out your portfolio so that it's not obvious, like all he's taking are the gingerbread baskets or whatever they are. Yeah, but really cool artwork in it, and the components for it are pretty simple. It's just cardboard tokens, but lays out on a nice little center mat. Everybody's got, there's like individual player powers too, isn't there? Or like round powers. What are the
The round powers, yeah.
Yeah.
So every time you get two of the same card, you can use one of the round powers. So even though you're trying to get rid of people by giving them two of a card, you're also
helping
giving
out at
them
the same time.
powers for the game. So
Did anybody play, what's the Three Little Pigs one? Is that
The Grim
Grim
Forest?
Forest?
No, that's not
That's
a.
a
It's just
placement
normal.
game.
It's like a simultaneous laying of cards and then seeing which actions activate.
Yeah, I know that Druid City has several of the like Barnyard Roundup is like a bluffing game.
Guardian's Call.
Yeah, has a little bit of push your luck like
Bluffing. Yeah.
bluffing in it.
Yeah, Sorcerer
Bidding.
City.
Yeah, I haven't played Sorcerer City yet either.
It's a
It
tile-
looks pretty.
That's a real-time tile laying
Tile-laying
game, which I actually really, really like. Even
Real
though
time.
a lot of real times aren't my thing, but I like that one.
Ooh,
Most real times.
here's another good one. Deception, Murder in Hong Kong
Oh,
is
yeah.
a deduction game. It's a good one. I don't think, does anybody have that in their collection?
No.
I've played it a bunch.
I've heard about it. I want to play it.
Yeah, it's fun.
I think Alan might have it. Alan
Oh,
Valancourt.
Yeah.
Alan.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a cool one. There's like 3 different pieces of murder information, like a weapon, a motive. Is that what it is? It's been a while since I played it, but you are trying to round after round narrow down, like, did they use poison? And the guy who's giving you the clues can only has so many pieces of like cards that he can work with to give you information on. So he's very limited. He has terrible cards as well, and it's an interesting one that everybody's kind of working together on. Yeah, that one's a cool one for sure. Have you guys ever played a 10-person game of Resistance? Do you prefer a smaller 5 or 6-person game? Also, I've never played with that variant token that allows you to have a different role. Have you? I didn't know there was a variant token that allowed you to have a single role. It's been so long.
Is that in the first edition?
I don't know. Is it in the first edition? The Resistance, one of my favorite times playing that was actually, was it your bachelor party? Or was
I don't know if, I mean, it was before I got married.
Hangout
so,
at the...
yeah, I guess it was my
Pre-marriage
bachelor
The
party.
weekend
hangout.
before
Yeah.
you were married
With
party.
a bunch of guys. Sure. It was a bachelor party.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. That was like, it was the max, so I guess
It was a
10
lot of people, yeah.
It was a little ridiculous.
It was. And your friends are ridiculous. I only knew like maybe 2 of Ryan's friends at this point. And by no, I mean like seen them before. So,
Oh,
and I felt like they all knew each other really well. I don't know if that was really true.
Yeah. We have more than one person, but one person specifically, Phil, who
Phil, talking to you,
he
Phil.
can lie to you and tell you to do something.
Yes,
And you know he's manipulating you. You know it. But it makes so much sense. And it's very frustrating to play against Phil because he's just so good at using you.
It was fun.
To
It was a
accomplish
good
his
time.
goals.
I think I was on his team or something. I don't really remember what it was, but I just remember the whole night just being crazy. Lots of yelling. Lots and lots of, no, you have to do this. He is the one that's whatever, like extreme level energy. And we were all like hanging out with Ryan because it was his last hangout time too. So it was a top level. Good job, Ryan. It was a top level experience. Good in my gaming. It's probably like right under Memory
Monday
People and every single Monday night of game night.
Let's see, Spyfall. Consider that one sort of a
I've only
social-
seen Spyfall.
I had
I
a
don't think
not
I played.
great experience.
Uh,
The first time I played it, I think, Will, you probably played in that game.
Maybe
too,
it was.
maybe.
I've not had a good experience, period, with Spyfall.
I was playing it at a convention. I think maybe it was Origins, the year it came out.
Social
So
Deduction.
it was new. Everyone was crazy about it. Got pulled into this game. It has all of these locations. And
with crazy things going on in the illustrations.
and one person is the spy and doesn't know what the location is, and everyone else knows the location. Very first game. I don't even know the rules yet, and I am the spy. I don't know what I can ask, when I can ask. I don't even know how to like say, oh, I think their location is this. So, yeah, not a great experience.
Yeah, I've
for
played
me.
it probably 3 times, and it is so hard to be the spy because you've got one little tiny map in the middle of the
And you're
board.
like, what are these
Right,
locations?
and as soon as you're like, let me just look at it, it's obvious that you're the spy because nobody else cares. They're like, oh yeah, desert, I got this, okay. And the questions you ask each other are like, you're trying to be super vague to not give it away to the spy, but you have to ask another person a question. So if we all know that we're in the desert except for Melissa, I might be like, hey Ryan, what are you wearing? And Ryan has to be like, flip-flops. And then now
Right.
Melissa's like, okay, they're either at the beach, they're at the desert, or they're at the wherever.
Or if you
Sauna.
if you don't even know, if you haven't played and you don't know what all the places are on the map, then you're trying to think of, okay, what are places that it could even be? Because I don't want to be obvious that I'm looking at the map, but I don't know this game well enough to.
And
even
then
do
someone
that.
asks you a question as the spy, and they're
Right.
like, blah blah blah, and I'm like, something.
Right. Ryan's like, what do you want to drink, Melissa? And she's like, coffee. She's definitely not in the desert. She said coffee. And then the other guys, I tried to help her out. I've heard that coffee keeps you hydrated better than, whatever. Like, just the craziest stuff.
So it's like a more elaborate version of Chameleon.
I haven't played Chameleon, so...
Yeah, because Chameleon, you have a chart with a bunch of nouns or whatever on it, and you roll some dice, and then everybody has a key card except for the Chameleon. And they see, okay, they rolled the dice, and it lines up with this word, and then you go around the table, and everybody says a word that describes it without giving it away.
Interesting.
And the chameleon has to hide the fact that he doesn't know what the word is, but also I think he can get a point if he's called out if he tells what the word was.
Gotcha.
So the people who
and I think it's the same.
are
If
trying
you
to
could guess
hunt
the
them out.
location.
Yeah, they're trying to all confirm that they're not the chameleon while also not giving it away. So what I just played this with my oldest sister. She has it in Wyoming, and I was the chameleon. We were going around the table, and it was like hairy. They were all animals. So like hairy, mammal. I think it was like out west or something, and then I don't remember what it was. They gave like a sound or something. So I was looking at them, and all I could see was it's got to be a buffalo. So I said tasty, and then everybody knew that I was the chameleon because the real answer was like gorilla or something.
It was
no,
tasty
he obviously
gorillas.
doesn't know.
Yep, same game. Those ones are tough. There's one pretty good one I think that does a good job with it, and that is Detective Club from Blue Orange. It's the same basic idea. Everybody, it's kind of like Dixit
It's a
meets
Dixit version.
Spyfall.
Yeah.
Everybody has all these cards with like really random art on it, and one person takes a little notepad and writes a word down like mystical or fangoriously or whatever, and then they play a card that exemplifies that characteristic. So everybody's playing a card, and you don't know what the word is. You got to pick one. You got to look at everybody else's cards and be like, "Oh, lots of blue. I see some snow. There's some whatever. I'm going to play this card." And then at the end, after you've played 2 cards, everybody has to defend why they played the cards that they played. So of course, number one excuse, I didn't have any good cards, so I had to play this one that's on fire, which is the opposite of snow, because I was like, snow, but the fire is the opposite. And then
It melts snow.
right. But it's a whole lot easier to like go around, especially if you're not the first person, to go around and be like, oh, he said that. Oh, what do you know? My picture has a single snowflake in the top left corner of this weird Dixit illustration.
So at this point, you still don't know what the exact word is?
They do tell you what the word is.
Okay.
But you still have to defend why you played the cards you played. And so when you get lucky and you're like, oh yeah, see this card, it has a snowflake, that's why I played it. And everybody's like, oh yeah, I do see that little snowflake. And really you were like, just got lucky that it was on your card. And then everybody votes with 2 voting tokens or whatever, who they think the liar is. So it is about being a good liar, but you at least have a lot of like ground to work with. Yeah. Instead of just like, oh yeah, flip-flops on the moon, or whatever. So it gives you a lot of good options in that way.
So I've thought of another deduction game. I mean, we spent a lot of time on social deduction because there's lots of those. But Cryptid would be a deduction game.
I'm trying to remember that one.
Crypt is where you get some information like
Oh,
there
that's
are
like
none of them are on mountaintops or something like that.
So you're looking
But
for
you
one
have some
space on the
information-
board, right?
Yeah, and then someone else is like, but they're near a cave or something like that. So
I've played it.
you have played
Yeah.
I was really bad at it.
The biggest problem with Cryptid is basically you break the game if someone makes a mistake.
Oh.
it. Sort of like Clue.
If they don't do their...
Clue happens all the time not when I personally.
Or 13
Oh,
clues.
Mystery of the Abbey was like
Oh
that.
yeah.
Yeah, from
If
Days of
someone
Wonder.
gives you wrong information on accident, it can ruin the whole game.
Mhm.
So
Someone mentioned Mysterium.
Does that make Captain Sonar fall into that category? Captain Sonar's deduction.
It is deduction.
And if Kevin
the-
says east, east, east.
So you really went with
That's
West.
another one that involves deduction, but I don't think is a deduction game.
Mhm.
But that's just me.
I agree. I agree with Ryan.
I'm mostly just tossing it out there.
Someone mentioned Mysterium, where you're trying to deduce what the ghost is giving you.
Yeah.
There's another one that's similar to Mysterium called Obscurio, which I actually like better.
I agree with that.
Is that the one where you draw on someone's back?
No,
Yeah.
that's Paranormal Detectives.
Paranormal Detectives.
No, Obscurio is like Mysterium, where you're trying to find the right one,
Ghostly.
but someone's a traitor
It's
and trying to throw people off.
I forgot about the traitor part. Yeah.
Mhm.
But that one that's the one with the little book with the cards that go in it, right?
Yeah.
It's got some nice aesthetics going on.
It does.
It feels more even though it has a hidden traitor, it feels more cooperative than Mysterium because it's not like each person has their own clues that they're trying to get. Everyone's trying to guess the same thing.
And the thing I actually like the most about Obscurio is like you put 2 cards down, Dixit style kind of again. Except in this one you have a little arrow pointer.
And it's magnetic.
Man, it makes it so much better. You can like, I don't want you to look at this giant red card. I want you to look at her shoe or whatever.
And then people are like, is it because it's blue? Or is it because it's a foot? Or is it because it's a...
So it's still crazy, but it's way better. Yeah.
But still better, I agree.
Yeah, that definitely... Obscurio is very, very similar. Like it basically is like a fixed version. Like, I don't know if it's Mysterium, but probably not playing it anymore.
Mysterium Park is coming out from Libelud.
Well, maybe they realized their error.
I
Mysterium
love
actually was
Mysterium.
cool. I did enjoy it the
love
first time.
Mysterium.
I just felt like I couldn't... If you can't get in sync with the person giving you the clues, it's just no fun.
Stuck at the bottom.
This is true. We do not do well in those types of games.
I'm like,
I
okay,
do
Sarah will
very
definitely
well.
think that this card means this. And then she's like, it definitely doesn't mean this. It has to mean every other thing. No, what?
Luke says Crypt is one of his favorite deduction games. Very cool. We probably should include... Oh, go for
What's
it.
the game with the dial?
Wavelength?
Wavelength. I think that is deduction.
Or social deduction?
No, I think it's deduction. Because there's a right answer.
Is there?
There's a right...
But you do have the
piece,
human
but
aspect of the person
the
giving...
clue might not be
the
right.
clue
yeah.
is like...
Yeah.
So
And
that's...
then it's more
debating.
social.
But I think it is one of those things that you have to sync up with your partner.
Sure.
You do, but your partner is like a whole team of people. I don't know. I think there's the social aspect because you definitely, like when you say worst cereal, best cereal, you have to like socially know, Sarah knows Count Chocula, best cereal. Social aspect. I don't know.
That's
And
awesome.
there
I
are
liked how you
people
did this.
who
Was
hate
that
sugar
Were you
cereal.
talking about Tenet?
No.
No.
I was thinking of how badly I did when we played that at Tantrum Con.
Oh,
Because it was
So
worst
cool.
cereal, best cereal.
Was it?
I was like, Cheerios?
I just randomly picked
Something like completely
right?
in the middle.
Oh, that is the right
Some
answer.
people love it, some
You're right.
people hate it.
They should have got
It's
that.
kinda bland,
That is the
but
right
it
answer. There
tastes
is the
good.
right answer.
But apparently a lot of people hated Cheerios, and I didn't realize that. I was not in tune with the crowd.
Oh, we should probably say goodbye.
Should we? It's 9 o'clock. Yeah. EST, EDT, whatever time zone we're in. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Hopefully you had some fun listening to us jibber jabber about deduction versus social deduction.
Deduction's better.
Comment
Oh.
in the comments.
About which one's better right now. What other cool stuff do we have going on? Because I feel like we got
Well,
a couple
we
other
got-
lives, a couple other shows.
Yes, so our next live show will be Monday afternoon. We're going to be doing a live playthrough of Cascadia, a prototype from Flat Out Games, so check that out. And then in a couple of weeks, we got our 24-hour game-a-thon, so don't miss that. And
So
a
many
quick
games.
shout out to our sponsor for Tantrum Talks one more time. Thank you, Burnt Island Games. Check out their Kickstarter coming September 15th for In Too Deep.
That pretty much wrap it up. Thank you guys.
Bye.